Hello, welcome to the Self Learning Podcast by Dr. Sushma Singh. Let us start Unit 25 Concepts of Difference and Inequality. And our topic is Major Theoretical Perspectives. There are at least three theoretical perspectives on social stratification. The first is the functionalist perspective, which seeks to explain social stratification in terms of their contribution to the maintenance of social order and stability in society. Like other functionalists, Parsons believed that order and stability in society are based on values held in common by people in society. Those individuals who conduct themselves in accordance with these values are ranked above others. Thus, a successful business executive would be ranked above others in the society, which values individual achievement, while individuals who fight battles and wars would be ranked above others in a society, which values bravery and gallantry. Functionalists uphold that the relationship between social groups in society is one of the cooperation and interdependence. Parsons explains that in a highly specialized industrial society, some people specialize in organization and planning, while others follow their directives. Certain positions are functionally more important in society than others. These are often ranked higher in the social hierarchy and fetch greater rewards than others. This inevitably leads to inequality in distribution of power and prestige. The second is the Marxist perspective, which differs from the functionalist perspective in focusing on divisive rather than integrative aspect of social stratification. Marxists regard social stratification as a means through which the group in the upper rungs exploits those in the lower rungs. Here, the system of stratification is based on the relationship of social groups to the forces of production. More clearly stated, Marxists identify two major strata in society: one that controls the forces of production, hence rules over others; second, that works for the ruling class. From Marx's standpoint, economic power governs political power. The ruling class derives its power from ownership and control over forces of production. The relations of the production prevail over major institutions, values, and belief system. Evidently, the political and the legal system pursue the interest of the ruling class. The ruling class oppresses the serving class. Thus, the stratification in society serves to foster exploitation and hostility between the two major strata. The critical terms in the Marxian framework of social stratification are class consciousness, by which is meant the awareness, the recognition by the people belonging to a class, for example workers, of their place in the production process and of their relation with the owning class. Class consciousness also subsumes the awareness of the extent of exploitation by the owning class in terms of their deprivation of an appropriate share in the surplus value of goods produced by them. Over time, workers realized that the way to relieve themselves of the exploitation and oppression is overthrowing the capitalist owners through unified collective revolution. Class solidarity, by which is meant the extent to which the workers join together in order to achieve their economic and political objectives, and class conflict, by which is meant to struggle when class consciousness has not matured, or it may be conscious struggle in the form of collective assertion and representations of workers intended to improve their lot. The third is the Barbarian Perspective, according to which the social stratification is based on class situation, which corresponds with market situation. Those who share common class situation also share similar life chances. They constitute one strata. Weber identified four groups in a capitalist society: the propertied upper class, the propertyless, white-collar workers, the petty bourgeois, and the manual working class. Weber did agree with Marx on the significance of the economic dimension of stratification. He, however, added the aspects of power and prestige to the understanding of social stratification. Weber was convinced that the differences in status led to differences in lifestyles. Tumin explains this more clearly. As distinguished from the consequences of the property differences or life chances, the status differences, according to Weber, lead to differences in lifestyles, which form an important element in the social exclusiveness of various status groups. Status groups acquire honor primarily by usurpation. They claim certain rewards and act out their claims in terms of their certain manners and styles of behavior and certain socially exclusive activities. And while status groups do not usually rest on any legal basis in modern societies, corresponding legal privileges are not long in developing once the status groups stabilizes their positions by securing economic power. In short, much like Marx, Weber agreed that property differences are important in forming of status groups. Property differences also define the lines of distinction and privileges among them. Unlike Marx, Weber assigned greater importance to status groups than to the development of community feeling and motivation for undertaking concerned actions by members of an economic class against the system. Weber also laid stress on party, which often represents interest determined through class situation and class status situation. According to Weber, the economic aspect is crucial in classes, honor is crucial in status group, and power is crucial in parties. Weber's perspective on social stratification derives from three components: class, status, and power. Bartley writes, in Weber's scheme, class and power appears to be generalized categories. The former arises from the unequal life chances in a market situation, and the latter from the nature of domination, which is present in one form or another in all societies. Status, on the one hand, seems to be a kind of residual category. Weber clarified that the social honor in capitalist society of the West too is not solely determined by possession of wealth or power. He said that the social honor is linked with values, not material interests. Evidently, the determinants of status honor are not only economic power and political power, but also style of life, which includes material components and non-material components. For example, literacy and artistic sensibilities. In case of material component, it is easy to superimpose economic advantages on the advantages of the status. That is, those who are able to strengthen their economic condition are also to acquire status in industrialized societies, given to mass production of consumer goods and common media of communication. The spread of uniformized education greatly reduces a distinction between the non-materialistic component of people's lifestyle. Batley explains that economic advantages are not easily translated into status advantages because of several reasons. In order to acquire an exclusive lifestyle, an individual has to be a part of a particular social milieu. Often he or she has to encounter resistance from those who are a part of that social circle. This resistance suggests the importance attached to inequality. Now let us wind up the session and take rest. Thank you very much for engaging yourself with a self-learning podcast.